So good evening to all. Topic for my today's presentation is synchronization in newborn ventilation. So what do you mean by synchronized ventilation? It is a ventilation by which newborn respiratory efforts are coordinated with the ventilator inflations. You can see from the graph below, it's a precedent flow waveforms. It is a baby from intermittent mandatory ventilation curve. You can see the pressure curve in the above the baseline. It's a positive deflections, and the infant's spontaneous effort is negative inflations. You can see there is no coordination occurs between the two waveforms, resulting in there is no synchrony. Consequence of this is you can see disorganized flow as well as variable tidal volume in the flow loop. Next slide, please. So benefits of synchronization includes, as we saw from the previous slide, it eliminates asynchrony, it gives comfort to the baby, and also it improves gas exchange, decreased need for sedation and muscle paralysis, lead to increased better muscle respiratory training. Then there is a reduction in airway pressures because of coordination, and decreased work of breathing, decreased risk of baro and volume trauma. Because of decreased fluctuations in intracranial pressure, there is a decreased risk of intraventricular hemorrhage. Helps us to wean fast from ventilator so that we can avoid BPD. Next slide, please. You can see from this graph the same baby with the three modes of ventilation. First one is IMV, second is SIMV, third one is assist control. You can see from the first graph, you can see there is a large fluctuations in loop. In the second SIMV mode, you can see there is consistent loops, but there is a large difference between the baby's spontaneous effort as well as the ventilator's inflation. The third one, you can see this consistent loops, which is superimposed. Next slide, ma'am. So actually synchronization is influenced by mainly two factors. First one is triggering, which occurs at the onset of inspiratory phase. So this is one which is responsible for inspiratory synchrony. The cycling occurs at the end of inspiration. It could be time cycle or flow cycle. It is responsible for expiratory synchrony. So triggering is, this ideal triggering device for newborn should be sensitive enough to be activated by a small preterm infant, and it must also be immune from auto-triggering. A very rapid response time to match inspiratory time and rapid respiratory rate should be there. Next slide. You can see some of the triggering methods with technologies. The common one is airway pressure, airflow, airway pressure by pressure transducer, airflow by hot wire anemometer, thoracic impedance, abdominal motion by Grasby capsule, and the latest one is electrically activated in the diaphragm EADI by transducer visual electromyography. Among these, airflow is commonly used. It has good sensitivity and very rapid response, and provides tidal volume measurement. The disadvantage is added dead space and is prone for auto-triggering the EDT leak. And coming to the electrical activity of the diaphragm, here it's no added dead space. So it gives very good rapid response. It's not affected by leak. It's ideal one for doing non-invasive ventilation. Of course, the disadvantage is it's a costly and somewhat is invasive, as we need to put the catheter inside the esophagus. Because of the limited availability, it is not yet come to the age now. Next slide. Among these, flow triggering using a flow sensor at airway opening is the best available modality at present. Here too has some limitations in the form of added dead space. The interportion of the flow sensor adds 0.6 ml to the instrumental dead space. It is also prone for auto-triggering by leak around the endotracheal tube and water in the circuit. Next slide. So leak around the endotracheal tube can be eliminated by effective leak compensation technology used by some of the ventilators, that is called leak adaptation. Here that derives leak flow throughout the ventilation cycle and subtracts this flow from the raw measurement. The water in the circuit can be eliminated by using ventilator circuit with semi-permeable expiratory lid. Next slide. You can see from this graph the coordination between the infant as well as the ventilator. You can see that vertical graph showing tidal volume. So magnitude of the tidal volume is by both babies as well as ventilator effort. You can see the horizontal is transluminal pressure. It is a sum of positive inflation from the ventilator and negative inflation from the baby. It gives the concept of additive nature of both coordination between the baby as well as the ventilator. Next slide. Coming on to the modes of synchronized ventilation, the three commonly used ventilation modes are available for missed ventilation. The first one is SIMV, synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation. It is a pressure control time cycle one. It's a pressure control mandatory inflations are delivered at preset rates. The rate will be fixed by the machine and the synchronized with the baby's spontaneous effort. So machine is triggered. Mission triggered inflations occurs at the set rate if no respiratory effort is directed. So the triggering is not happening, the machine will give inflations in itself. You can see from partial synchrony, only inspiratory synchrony occurs. So triggering is by the baby and the machine is will set the rate in the machine. Since it is a time cycle one, there is no expiratory synchrony occurs. Next slide. You can see from this graph. You can see the transpulmonary pressure variation. You can compare. You can see this when spontaneous breaths are coordinated by the ventilator breath. You can see the increased transpulmonary pressure. At the same time, when the case of infant spontaneous breath, pressure is very minimal. And also, you can see from the volume one, when the baby's breaths are coordinated, you can see very good tidal volume. At the same time, the spontaneous effort, the tidal volume is less when compared to the dead space volume. So it is one of the most commonly used modality. Previous slide. It's one of the most commonly used modality. This is mainly used for during weaning. As you see from this picture, it's not optimal for small infants. Since small infants will have high resistance for the endotracheal tube as well as weak inspiratory effort, their tidal volume will be less than the dead space volume. This is almost one of the preferred mode for infants with severe BPD. Next slide. Coming under assist control, it is also called synchronized intermittent positive pressure ventilation, also called patient triggered ventilation. It is a pressure control time cycle ventilation. A synchronized mode that supports every spontaneous breath is supported by the machine. That is sufficient enough to trigger the ventilation inflation. It provides minimal rate. The baby is in apnea. It also provides uniform tidal volume and the lower work of breathing. It also gives only partial synchrony because inspiratory synchrony only occurs. The triggering is here also by the baby. The rates are baby sets. And compared to the SIMV, here is the rates are set by the baby. And there is no expiratory synchrony because there is a time cycle one. Next slide. You can see from this figure, you can see the uniform transpulmonary pressure. Since every spontaneous effort is supported by the ventilation, you can see the tidal volume is also uniform. So small and less variable tidal volume, which gives less tachypneic, can give more rapid cleaning, small fluctuations in blood pressure. Next slide. Coming under the pressure support ventilation, it is a pressure control flow cycle ventilation. Here every spontaneous breath is supported by the machine. It's a flow cycling one because inflation is terminated when inflated flow declines to a pre-threshold value, usually around 15% of the peak flow. Flow cycling eliminates inspiratory flow and provides more optimal synchrony. Here complete synchrony occurs, inspiratory, expiratory. So triggering is by the baby. The rates are decided by the baby. Next slide. You can see from this figure, the left side is time cycle breath and right side is flow cycle breath. The left side, you can see inflations. With the fixed inspiratory time, you can see the pressure plateau that is called inspiratory hold. During the latter half of the phase, there is no flow occurs. So baby when straight through exhale is very difficult. And coming under the flow cycle breath, you can see the inspiratory time is short, inflation is very short. So once flow reaches 15% of the peak flow, baby machine starts exhaling. It's almost like natural breathing. Next slide. These are the common modes of synchronous ventilation, the pressure control mode. So intermittent mandatory ventilation and the synchronous ventilation. So there we need to set some breath. So where in assist control pressure support ventilation, every breath is supported by the machine. So cycling is in case of intermittent SIMV is a time cycle, and assist control also is a time cycle. Whereas in pressure support ventilation, it's a flow cycling. Ventilator rate are set by the machine in intermittent and SIMV. In case of assist control and pressure support ventilation, it's driven by the baby. It will keep backup rate in case of apnea. Tidal volume is variable in IMV and SIMV, whereas in assist control and pressure support ventilation, tidal volume is relatively stable. Work of breathing because of asynchronous is high in IMV. The SIMV also high, depends on the rates, whereas in case of assist control and pressure support ventilation is lowest. Weaning, since we set the rate, we need to decrease the rate at the initial stage during weaning. Whereas in the case of assist control and pressure support ventilation, can do decrease the pressure, then finally the rate. Next slide.
That was wonderful, Dr. Saravana Raja. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. Did you go through the entire module, the recent one on synchronized ventilation and volume cycle ventilation? You've gone through that?
Yes,
that's
sir.
very nice. I mean, great learning. Thank you. We learned a lot from you. What do you have to say, Professor Rakesh? What do you think? Please remember, you can unmute yourself, Rakesh. Dr. Saravana Raja is working in a tier 2 city. He's just in a tier 2 town in Tirchangod in Tamil Nadu, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It's a very small rural town. So you can see what is your thoughts about it, Rakesh?
I think the wonderful presentation means the concept were very clearly exhibited. I just want to add a comment, means all these modes make physiological sense. And if you think of, we're talking of synchrony, I think people need to understand the task. The ventilators these days are much better. So if you look at a baby's breath is about 300 milliseconds. And to be able to synchronize 300 milliseconds, so you can see how small the total breath is. If we are, and in those 300 milliseconds, if you're going to synchronize, your trigger has to activate in the first 25% of the time, very early part of the inspiration. So it is very important. And Dr. Raja pointed out that where you trigger is an important thing. Now I think in tiny babies, the most commonly used are either are flow triggered monitors. And I don't know about India, but in US, they are all on the expiratory side, so they don't add to the volume. And one has to see when you're trying to achieve triggering, mainly the concern is during the acute phase, when you want to give the optimal ventilation without making sure you're not causing more trauma to the lung and all. So you want to give with the optimal ventilation without causing any damage. And depending on the severity, most people would start on synchronized, and then if the baby is not and still not responding, we'll move on to assist. And then during the weaning, when you're doing, then you can use SIM with pressure support. But keep in mind that it makes physiological sense. And when people have looked at long-term data, does any of these modes, this is just a comment, what ultimately you want to avoid lung disease on the long term. And if you look at parameter like BPD, unfortunately, none of these modes have resulted in any better outcome. And what we want to make sure is when you're weaning, there is a big question, do you need synchrony when you're weaning? It means an asynchrony may be telling you the baby is ready to be extubated, and trying to synchronize and give forced breath. So acute disease, definitely you should be synchronizing to the best of your ability. And during weaning, their babies, and it was mentioned in the talk about babies on chronic ventilation, and I think that's where it's important. And we have moved to a lot of, one of the slides had a non-invasive synchronization, what's called NIV-NAVA. It's an expensive device, and it really works. You have to select your patient, and you can make if the baby means typical example which comes to my mind is when we have babies with giant omphalocele which cannot be operated and we are waiting for months for them to have some abdominal domain developed, and that's where we use a lot of NAVA, and otherwise too a NAVA CPAP. It helps to maintain baby on CPAP. So I think it's a wonderful concept. It makes a lot of physiological sense, and I maybe one day when the problem is the babies and trying to get a good handle on their tidal volumes and triggering. Once we have and the devices have improved tremendously. So in future you're going to see better, and you will be able to synchronize much better.
Thank you, Rakesh. Just to answer one question which you asked about in India, we have mostly ventilators which have expiratory tidal volume measurements, like the Draeger. We got the Draeger, all the models now, including the VN 600 and 800, which measures the end tidal end tidal volumes and end expiratory tidal volumes. Also, we have the SLEs, which also measure, but then they are more in the inspiratory circuit. So I just have one question, which one of the delegates has asked in the chat box here. Maybe Rakesh, if you could answer. The baby is having sepsis with metabolic acidosis, like in necrotizing enterocolitis, and if the baby is hyperventilating, in such cases, is SIMV PC mode or SIPPV better for effective ventilation?
Say the last part, SIMV or
SIMV with pressure control mode or SIPP is better? Which is better?
You mean with given the clinical background with the baby who has metabolic acidosis and a natural tendency to have a much higher respiratory rate to get rid of all the, and I personally would say that SIMV with pressure support mode, that way you are giving adequate ventilation and optimal oxygenation. At the same time, you're giving enough pressure support during the other non-assisted breaths that should take. And then if you're still having issues with the pH, you can always alter your pressure support level depending on your blood gases, but you want to do the minimum to get out the maximum. So you want to improve the gases, you want to treat the underlying cause, and in the meantime, support with the minimal ventilation. So the SIMV with pressure support to start off with, and as the baby gets better, then taking the pressure support off and just going over to SIMV with the aim to move towards weaning and extubating.
Great, thank you. Is anybody else having any comments to make or any questions, please? Please feel free to unmute yourself and talk. Anything related to this presentation? Any doubts also? Professor Sani is here. Okay, so we had a great session there, Saravana. Maybe some other questions, if there are any, keep yourself in the meeting. Then later we'll come back to you. We'll have two other very good presentations which are lined up now.